Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vicki, otherwise known as Heartland Knits, and this is where I like to share all of the things that I love to do: my knitting, spinning, sewing, and gardening. Today I have a knitting video for you. I wanted to show you one of the big projects that I have just started. It's going to be a long-term project, so I'm just kind of at the very beginning, but I thought you might be interested in hearing about it. The project is a Shetland Hap shawl, though mine isn't out of Shetland yarn, but anyway, it all started because one of my knitting camp friends posted the blocking photos of a shawl that she finished this summer, and it was so beautiful, so beautiful. It completely inspired me. I'd had yarn stashed away for at least a dozen years. I'm not exactly even sure how long it's been since I've had it. It is not Shetland yarn. It is beautiful cashmere yarn. But anyway, what I think of when I think of Hap shawls is a Shetland Hap shawl that looks sort of like this, sort of. And this is the book that I am sort of loosely following kind of as a recipe. It is Heirloom Knitting's Shetland Hap Shawls book. This is by Sharon Miller. This book is out of print right now, though you can get a PDF version of it on her Etsy store. I will put a link to that down below. It also says in there that she is rewriting or revamping this book, expanding it. So this one goes through some history of the Hap shawls. You can sort of see these are how they are being dressed. It's got a sort of a generally a garter stitch center, and then bands. It's usually an old shawl kind of lace pattern. It can be all one color. It can be sort of bands of color like this. Anyway, it's like a center square and outside edging with the old shawl, and then an edging on the very outside of that. You can do this as a hap, so it's like a triangle shape instead of a big square. So I've made two Hap shawls, haps in the past. One was a solid color, just a little kind of shoulder shawl, and the other one was a hap using all alpaca yarn, hand spun yarn. A friend of mine used to have an alpaca farm just outside of town, and 10 years ago she moved away, and sort of as a going away present, I gave her a little shawl that I knit out of fiber from her animals, like so that all the animals like she knew and named, and so this is actually the what's left from those. So there's all different colors of them. So the yarn I'm using is a lace weight cashmere from Color Mart. It's a lovely yarn. I'm really enjoying knitting it. And the middle color is this very, very pale pink color. And then the other ones that are going to be on the outside, there is this really pretty sort of a corally pink. There is a red, and it's about the same as my red dress. There is a white, which it's not a stark white. It's more of a sort of creamy kind of eggshell sort of white. And then there is this kind of that's about it. It's like more of a hot pink, dark pink. So together they'll all be like this. So I'm just working on that middle square section. There are different ways you can construct the shawls. The very traditional way is sort of doing it from the outside in, and then you the more modern way is to kind of do that middle square and then pick up the stitches and knit out, which is what I'm doing with this one. You can also do that middle square, sort of cast on the width you want and then knit it up, or you can do it sort of as I think of like dishcloth style, where you increase on every row till you get to a certain amount of stitches, and then you decrease it back up, which is how I am working mine. So this is the start of mine. This is just a baby right now. And oh, you see, I can't just do the garter. That big swath of garter just was really intimidating to me. I need to put a little bit of something in it. And I swatched several different things, and I came up that I really liked this little daisy stitch, still on a garter ground. So, but I really liked it because both the front side and the back side are nearly identical, because I think I'm going to, you know, when I wear it, sort of the kind of one edge will sort of be folded down so that you'll see kind of both of them at the same time. I had started it with a different stitch pattern, which I really liked, but one side of it looked a little different than the other. And I liked the front side of it a lot, but then the back side just looked that little bit different, and it's like, no. Plus this is, I think that was an Estonian stitch, and this is a Shetland stitch. I've seen it called Lazy Daisy. I've seen it called Field of Flowers. So I've seen it called, you know, several different things in different books. It is a Shetland lace stitch pattern. So to increase the stitches, you just do a yarn over at the beginning of every row. So when you're going to come back to pick up all those stitches to work out and around, it's, you know, really easy. You've got that nice little loop there at the edge, so that's nice. And I decided to do it this way for a couple of reasons. One is then I didn't have to decide straight away how large the shawl was going to be. I could just kind of start knitting and see where I go. Also, when you wear it, if you're going to wear it kind of with it folded back like I had it before, the garter ridges will go across your back, where if you knit like a square, so let's just say this was a square, you would have it, the garter ridges would be kind of at an angle. And I just kind of liked the idea of this better. Plus, I didn't have to make the decision right off. A bunch of my friends were similarly inspired by the beautiful blocking picture we saw and are knitting different versions of the shawl. Several of them are doing the haps as a throw instead of a shawl, which I quite like the idea of too. I would love to use like a kid silk haze or one of those kind of baby mohair. I think that would be really, really pretty. And you could use really big needles that would go pretty fast. So I have been considering that, though it would be probably use up more stash if I did as a friend of mine, one friend is doing out of Unspun Icelandic, because I have a lot of that kind of single skeins that I've collected, because a lot of times I'll use that for hats at knitting camp, so I have a lot of sort of leftovers of that. So maybe. I'm really excited about this project. It's definitely going to be a very long-term project. Right now I've just sort of been doing kind of one flower, and then there's 3 garter ridges between each row. And so I've been doing sort of one flower and the 3 garter ridges kind of every night. It's something I think I want to like knit on slowly a little bit every day. And so you probably won't see it for quite some time, not until it shows significant progress, and maybe I'm working on the other colors for the edging or something. It doesn't have a deadline. Well, maybe deadline of next July, but that's quite a ways out. So this yarn is such a delight to knit on. It is so soft. I bought this at least 12 years ago, maybe more like 14. I'm not really sure. And this purchase was actually inspired by another friend who had knit a hap shawl out of it. They came as a bundle from Color Mart, and I feel like it was from an eBay store. So I don't know if they had an eBay store before their website or one at the same time, but these were sold as bundles, and they would have, you know, bundles of greens and or blues or whatever. Obviously I got the pinks. I'm not even sure if they came coned or if they came in hanks and then I re-hanked them because to find out the yardage for each color, or I can't even remember. I just know it feels so good to get them off of the shelves, out of the stash, and into an actual project that I am knitting on. That feels really, really good. Are you feeling that way, that you want to kind of work through your stash, or are you still in the active sort of acquirement stage? I will never say I'm not ever going to buy yarn anymore. I can only use stash. Because there's some things, like if you want a red sweater and you don't have the yarn for a red sweater, you have to buy the yarn. But in other things, I just think I really want to work through a lot of this and kind of get it on needles and get it worked up. Your feelings about that, about your stash? Are you working through it or happy just to have it and keep acquiring new stuff? Whatever your feelings, drop them in the comments below. And if you're not already a subscriber, please do subscribe. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And until I see you next time, from my heart to yours, happy knitting.